Yes, mate. I wanted to do a quick video on L405 wheel refurbishment. When I bought this car, I wanted ones with the turbine wheels on it, the L405 turbines. I think they're the best wheel for the whole car. They really suit it, and they're the ones that people are going to be sought after years. They're really like a kind of iconic wheel for this car. When I bought this car, they were really bad, the wheels. The guy who I bought it off said that the wheels needed a refurb. I factored that into the purchase price with it and thought it was going to be a simple case of giving it to a local wheel refurb in place. And they'd do that for me, you know, couple of grand perhaps tops. When I took it to 3 of my local wheel refurb places, no one would have touched it. They said, no, we don't touch these at all. My wheel places are really good. One of the ones do refurbs for Lamborghini. They're really high-end places, and none of them would touch it. A lot of people get kind of diamond cut on the face of them to kind of refurb them up. They're actually two-tone. From new, they're two-tone, so you've got a kind of grey here, and then obviously a kind of a polish finish. This is what they look like when I've refurbed them. So this is not how yours look. Yours has got kind of a satin finish, and to them they're actually from the factory. They're polished, ceramic polished wheels. So they're not diamond cut, which a lot of people think they are. They're actually ceramic polish, which from my understanding is they're put into like a big tub with ceramic pellets in it. The whole thing is shaken, and that's the finish that you end up with. Your local wheel refurb place doesn't have that. There's only 2 or 3 places in the whole of the UK that do that, and when you get them for a price this insane, I think it's about 3.5 grand. I think they wanted to refurb these wheels, which make it totally uneconomical to do. You're better off trying to find some replacement wheels for it, even if they're not the turbines at that kind of price. I did look into trying to get a replacement set for them, but there's so many fakes out there. They do like fake sets from China, which everyone online says they crack. You go over a pothole and they're just not made of the same quality steel, and they crack entirely, and then you're left with either welding in, which I wouldn't want to do, or you're kind of back to square one. And kind of looking for some genuine ones. So as I say, I spoke to 3 companies that do it around by me, really good. None of them would touch them. One guy actually said he would, but he said it's a pain in the arse job. He said they'll never look as good as what they do new. He said when you diamond cut them, the alloy makeup of the wheel just doesn't take to them well. And he said you're not going to be happy with them. He said I don't want to put my name to them, and that's what most places other said. They said we don't want to touch them. They'll spray them all one colour, but that kind of ruins the effect on them. I've seen cars that have had that done. They're powder coated. It doesn't look right, especially because you want them two-tone. The other option you could do is that the places will do them and mask them up and spray them two-tone. Again, you won't get a polished face on them. You'll get a two-tone finish with it, but it costs a fortune given the labor involved. They have to literally mask up every spoke, do it, and it's not what you want. So what I decided to do, the one company said he'd do them for about 2 grand, which seemed quite expensive. As I say, he said you're not going to get perfect finish with them. So what I decided to do was do them myself. So it's not hard to refurb wheels, but this is the finished look you get from a refurb wheel if you do it yourself. I'll show you the process. I took a few videos along the way of showing you the process, how to do it. If you can see the shine on them, it really sets the car off. Keeps that kind of OEM plus look on it, which I love. There's spacers on this car. If you haven't seen my other videos on spacers, I put spacers on this car, which is why it's looking particularly kind of aggressive more than what you might have. But you can do these, if you've got these wheels, you can do a refurb on them yourself. Mine were terrible. You'll see in the videos now how bad they were. I've also done the calipers, which I'll also show you in the video. But at least you can kind of hopefully do them yourself if you watch this video, and I'll kind of show you step by step of the way. Okay, so this is what we're starting with. You see the tattiness of it, horrible rusty caliper on it. You've got bits of lacquer going on the wheel itself, on the wheel face. Nice curb marks on it, just not looking nice. You've got bits by here and stuff. Ruins it really. And this is the final product after you finished off. So it's all sanded and polished, the actual face of the wheel. It's been coated with an auto glim wheel seal, but you can put ceramic on it or wax. You just have to keep an eye on it. If you don't like it kind of that shiny, it will naturally kind of mar and go back to how it was, but you know, kind of satin finish to it. But you've got to stay on top of it, because otherwise you get corrosion going. You know, you'll start seeing spots of rust and things. And you see the caliper as well behind it, all improved. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a comb polisher, polish up these bits and all the inserts as well, just to give it a final touch. It does take a long time, so this wheel itself with the caliper as well, I would say it's almost a full day, not like a flat out day, but if you're kind of working at a leisurely rate, shall we say, that's how long it will take. You're talking 1 hour for the caliper, and then about an hour to take the lacquer off, another hour to do kind of the standard wet and dry, and then maybe another hour doing the polishing. By the time you faff any bits and pump the car up and stuff, you're talking about 6 hours, I would have thought, for 4 if you're really in a rush. So it does add up, but that's what you end up with. Okay, this is what it looks like off the car. I've masked up double tape on here. You can see kind of the lacquer and stuff going on it when you're up close. What I've done, I've run a Dremel 80 grit just around the sides, any little like curbing. It's the only bits you really need to do, but make sure when you do it, you kind of don't just spot it, because otherwise you get a dent. You really need to go back and forth, just to kind of smooth it out, so it's all kind of fluid. As I say, that hasn't been touched apart from a Dremel. This stuff here where the lacquer's coming off, you don't need to touch that with a Dremel. That'll come off when you're sanding it. What I've been using is this, which is a Maguire's drill attachment. You can use any kind of dual action DA, they call it, which, if you see it, if you've ever seen one before, when they spin, it doesn't spin directly on the spot, so you don't get any hot spots. That's what I prefer to use, but that's just a buffing pad on it. But I've been using sanding discs. I couldn't get the right size, so I got bigger ones and I have to cut them out, which is a bit of a ball ache. But I started with a 120, so that's what I'll use on that one now. 120, and that'll get all the lacquer off. You'll see the lacquer when it comes off. It's pretty easy to see. It's hard. That's probably the hardest bit. You need to use, I'd probably say, about an hour going over it, and you'll start to see all this coming off, and it starts to shine. You see bare metal underneath it. Keep doing that till you've done the whole face. Obviously you might need to do the edge by hand, especially like, you know, kind of in that bit there, if that makes sense. That's the hardest bit, is taking a lacquer off, so use a 120 for that. So we need your nose sanding discs on that, literally just stretch it. I think make sure you get Velcro kind of pads for it, so you've got the power to kind of stick it on there. So you do a 120, then I've been using a 400, then I've been using 800 and 1500. So I use those two dry, and that one I just spray with a bottle of water. What you end up with, so you've got that one untouched, all masked up. Then if you give the different layers of thing, you end up with it like this. This is what it looks like. So it's quite smooth, but there's no shine at all to it. So you're going up through the grit, up through the grades, and then that's when I've polished half this wheel, you can see. So that's a polish, and I've just used auto sol for that, and a buffing pad, which again is quite quick. So as I say, about an hour for the first to take the lacquer off, maybe another hour, 2 hours going through up all the different grits up to the 400, the 1000 or 800, and then 1500. You could go higher. I've tried things like 3000, things like that, but it doesn't seem to be worth it really. I think those 4 steps are really the best one. And yeah, that's kind of what you end up with, that shine on the end. So yeah. While we were in here, I thought I'd do caliper refurb. You can see these are coming from the factory, absolute state. Obviously I've jacked the car up, got jack stands as well, just to be on the safe side. Don't just jack it up with a scissor jack. But the calipers, normally you can take them off, get them sent off, costs you a good few £100 to do, but it's really easy. I've done it on plenty of cars before. You effectively need to sand it down first of all. So I've given this a brief rub over on this bit. You can see I haven't touched this bit yet, but I've done all this bit in 120. Just give it a brief thing, get any kind of loose rust off. And what I'll do is I'll blow it down with a bit of compressed air. You can get that in a can if you haven't got a compressor, just to make sure all the dust is off. And then I'm going to paint it. You can use, you're supposed to use very high temperature paint. They say that's safe because obviously if you've got your brakes heating up, you don't want it catching fire or anything like that. I found that Hammerite, believe it or not, is absolutely fine. I've used them on performance cars. It doesn't melt, it doesn't drip. It's high enough temperature. You might have a problem if you've got a sticking brake, but for day-to-day use, or even for kind of hard use, it's fine. But I'm going to paint all this. I'm going to do these in silver to match the wheels. And I've also got some logos here to go on here, like the proper ones. You can buy them online. I think it's a place called Brake Decal Sticker or something like that. I've done them on a Jag before. They look really good. They're kind of high temperature paint stickers as well, so you know they stay on there. I've tried spraying them before, but you end up masking everything off. What I find is if you use Hammerite paint, I'll show you the stuff once it's done, it goes on smooth enough. It doesn't look painted once it's done. Once it's dry, it looks smooth enough, and from behind the wheels you don't kind of see it that close. But yeah, sand it down, blow some compressed air on it, and I'll do 2 coats on it. Once that's dry, I'll put the stickers on, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is with first coat on, just to show you where I've masked up. If you want to get it on the brake disc yourself. On the hub here, I've actually sanded it down. Just give it a quick blast, 10-minute blast with some 120 grit sandpaper, just so instead of looking rusty. I put it around here, around the bleed nipple, and then you can see obviously all the pins, etc. there, which I've covered as well. A bit down the bottom, and I've just given it 1 coat. This is the stuff that I use. Direct to metal. Make sure you get the smooth stuff, not the hammered. They do it in lots of different colours, black, red, whatever takes your fancy. But I've gone silver with these because I think it's not too shouty then. And that's 1 coat. Doesn't look great at the moment, but let it dry, give it a second one on. Honestly, it looks superb. Here's the finished product. It's had 2 coats of Hammerite smooth silver. It is a bit matte, which I was a bit shocked at, but looking online, apparently it's a satin metallic finish on it. And you can see where I've left kind of all the stuff. You won't see that when the wheel's on. I bought some decals as well. But yeah, probably took about an hour all total. Not bad for the time. So yeah, that's how you do them all. It's not a hard process. As I say, time consuming, but I think any Tom, Dick or Harry could do that. It's taking your time, even if it takes you 20 hours, you're saving yourself £2 grand, £100 an hour. Happy days to do it yourself. These have been on here, I took those videos last year. These have been on here for a year where I've been using them. I've only given them 1 polish coat. You can see very slightly on here where it's kind of marring again because it's bare metal. I've been driving them through the winter, but a polish with auto sol and then some spray ceramic, it comes up great again. So as long as I do that every 6 months, a year, they'll keep them looking good, looking fresh. And I think they look sublime for the effort that you put into it. And as I say, they're future proof then if you do ever have any knocks or kind of curbs with the wheels, anything like that. As always, I do these videos. I've got a load of different videos online. If you want to have a look at my channel, I'd be grateful if you can give me a like or subscribe. It always helps so that, you know, I'm not just talking to myself here. I get kind of decent enough views for the stuff that I put on there. But yeah, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a comment. I'll always try and reply to you if you send me a comment. But yeah, I hope this video helps some people in the same predicament that I was. Thank you all.